Welcome to another day of BSL brought to you by Blizzard, Esports Fun, and Liquipedia. I am Nyokin, and joining me is Gypsy. Today we have Group C and Group D. Group C, if you like ZVZ, this is the day for you. And if you like TVP, this is the day for you because we've got players like eOnzErG, Julia, Tai2, Avi-love, Koget, Bonneth, and a couple others. Ultra, I remember, as another Terran and Favorite rounding out Group D. So Gypsy, yesterday we had DeWalt and Ziki making it out of Group A and B, and then also Cryok and who's the other person that got out of that group? Can you remember?
You're putting me on the spot. No, Cryok and... Yeah, we have to actually look that up.
And Gornich, Gornich. How did I forget Gornich? Gornich is the one that made it out in first, and then DeWalt made it out in first in the other group. But actually, Ziki and Cryok did not make it easy for them because Ziki looked really strong, and Cryok actually surprised me quite a bit in his games or in his game versus Gornich, and then he looked really good versus Gosudark. But today we've got ZVZ and TVP. What do you think about these groups coming in today?
Yeah, I mean, the groups today, the thing is, the first group's just pure Zergs, right? But very strong Zergs. And then the second group, just a lot of kind of really strong up-and-coming players. But going into Group C here, we have eOnzErG, Julia, Avi-love, and Tai2. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but apparently Tai2 did not show up to play his matches today. So unfortunately... Avi-love is going to have a walkover into the winners match, and the losers match is also going to get a walkover. So we're going to be missing out on a couple of games, which makes me really sad because if anything, I am one of the most, one of the biggest Tai2 fans for sure. And it's always fun watching him play. But I know Tai2's been kind of focused on his real life stuff on he works a job, I think, at Chipotle. Famously, he blogs about it. I don't know if he still works there, but he also focuses on school and stuff. So I can understand sometimes life gets the better of us. We don't always have time for StarCraft, and I wish him luck, and it is unfortunate. But that being said, we still are going to see eOnzErG, Julia, Avi-love. Now eOnzErG, of course, just a powerhouse in the NA scene, in the non-Korean scenes. It's not just NA that plays StarCraft, but in the non-Korean scene. And also Avi-love, strong Danish player from even before StarCraft 2 came out. So back in like 2010, he managed to qualify for TSL 2 and stuff. And the infamous Julia himself. So kind of a strong Polish player. Many people know him from the ladder. He's always talking a bit of smack, but he's been streaming a lot on Twitch. So personally, I think he's a pretty good guy. And this first game is going to be eOnzErG versus Julia.
Yeah, eOnzErG versus Julia should be a good matchup. eOnzErG is one of the two other people that I think has impeccable Mutamicro. We saw yesterday Ziki playing out of his mind with the mutas. True Touch always playing out of his mind with mutas, and eOnzErG always up there too. We can see the results of eOnzErG and Julia. eOnzErG winner in season 5, second place in season 7, season 4, third place. Meanwhile, Julia got 4th in season 1, and then from there on never had similar results to that. But he's a very good Zerg. I know I've played him on ladder like once or twice, and it was a lag fiesta, but his style tended to be Lurker Hydra. Now, it's ZVZ, so I don't think we're going to expect to see something like that. I'm a bit sad that Tai2 didn't end up playing because a couple of seasons ago, he had a very interesting style and actually did play Hydras versus Gornich. So a big loss there. And, Tyler Byron yesterday had some good results, so it's a bit unfortunate to not get to see the real Tyler Byron play today. But yeah. I'm ready to see some ZVZ action if we have the games already hosted. Our first map is going to be on Eclipse. It is going to be eOnzErG versus Julia. So let's start it off with Group C. In the top right, in the green, from Poland, it is Julia. And in the bottom left, one of the best current foreign Zerg players right now, it is eOnzErG. So eOnzErG is one of those players that definitely has the killer instinct. If he thinks he can kill you with whatever it is, lurker bust or ling bust or mutas, he will go for it. So I expect him to be the aggressor here. Now, as I was saying, I don't play Julia that much, but the one or a couple times that I did play him on ladder, TVZ of course different than ZVZ, he did play Hydra Lurker, but because you don't ever see Hydra Lurker in TVZ either, he may actually be somebody that comes up with an interesting strategy. He may actually end up going into some type of Hydra play potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see
Like-
Hydralist. Whoa, what's this? What is this, Nick? And it looks like
Look at this. This is like a 9 hatch at his third base.
Julia's going for that 9 hatch. Really, really interesting opening. Now, this build is meant to basically hard counter a 9 pool, but looks like eOnzErG's not going for that 9 pool. He's going to go for a 12 pool, so very standard opening from eOnzErG, but Julia definitely mixing it up. 9 hatchery. The thing is, 9 hatchery, you go 9 hatchery, 9 pool, and you can make the hatchery is so fast that it doesn't die to something like 9 pool, and then you have double, 2 hatchery production for insane Zergling pressure. But eOnzErG going for that 12 pool, he's not going to get punished as hard, and obviously, ideally, eOnzErG would want to have to go for something like a 12 hatch, but. Anyway, so interesting build choice from Julia, and today, honestly, I think it's up to Julia to kind of prove himself in this group. I think he's a bit of an underdog against the other 2 players, but I mean, he's a strong player himself, and it is ZVZ, so anything can happen. But this first map is going to be a bit hard on him because again, it's a 2-player map, so it's easy for both players to get scouting information.
So this opener from Julia, 9 hatch, 9 pool, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it at another main. So just
Yeah.
initially looking at it, ZVZ is one of those matchups where if even just one ling gets in your base, it can start getting kills. What do you think about this on location third base really for Julia? Doesn't he kind of have to defend 2 fronts now? If a ling gets into either base, in theory, he should be in trouble, shouldn't he?
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is not like a long-term investment here. I think Julia is just banking on. Essentially, you can see he mined enough gas for the speed, and then he's only mining with 1 drone on gas now because basically his economy isn't that good enough to tech the layer at any point. You can see he's literally just using this proxy hatchery. Basically, it's not really proxy, but hidden hatchery, I suppose, to make lings. And eOnzErG, what does he scout? He sees lings on the ramp, and right now, that means that he can't really know what's going on, except he's probably assuming it's gonna be lair. It's gonna take another couple seconds for him to see that there's no lair. Then he's gonna really have question marks because he doesn't see a natural, he doesn't see lair, he doesn't see Zerglings coming to attack him. Now he knows something's up, but is it too late? I mean, eOnzErG, he's been making lings nonstop, and Julia sees it. That's why you don't see him move out. But now, because eOnzErG saw that there's no lair, it triggers Julia to go out onto the map. His speed finishes. I don't know if eOnzErG's speed is finished. No, it's not finished yet, is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so both of them have speed finished, but look at Julia with the impressive kind of run by with the links. He's going to have a really good position here, and he's going straight for the sunken.
Yeah, so backstab from Julia in the back. He has way more Zerglings than eOnzErG right now. Sunken Colony desperately needs to get up. The Sim City is okay with the Colony. Actually, eOnzErG trading very well, and Sunken does get up. And with the Sunken up and these Lings being killed off, eOnzErG's at a massive advantage now. Lair's already done. Spire can complete. Julia was going for a Hail Mary here, and it did not work out for him. So now what's his follow-up plan? I actually think that we may just see him tap out soon. There's really not much he can do other than just build Lings.
Oh my god, that was so close. The Sunken barely finished, and Julia had some nice micro there. He pulled back the one group of lings that was like basically the front that was losing. He was pulling back those lings, but the Sunken finished just in time. And eOnzErG, I mean, I don't know if he, 6 cents from him, because if eOnzErG at any point made 1 drone or 2, definitely if he made 2 drones, he would have lost. But if he made like a drone or 2, it would have been such a dicey situation. So very disciplined decision making from him to keep making lings in a situation where he didn't have full scouting information. And you can see Julia's basically all in. He knows he's all in because he went for that 9 hatch. He's not. I mean, the thing is, though, Nayak, and they're both on the. Actually, eOnzErG has fewer drones, so I think if Julia takes a step back, the thing is Julia doesn't have a lair, right? That's the big thing. But economy-wise, he's ahead. So
here comes Julia again, but I don't think this is going to work out. The Sunken is in a fantastic position. The concave is really nice from eOnzErG. And this time it was an absolute disaster for Julia. An overwhelming amount of lanes for eOnzErG, and Julia just taps out. So that's going to be a quick game 1 going over to eOnzErG. He's just going to instantly move into the winner's bracket. And as we already know, Tai2 did not show up today. So by default, Avi-love's just going to move on. So our next matchup is going to be Avi-love versus eOnzErG. I actually liked Julia's build. Because it was very sneaky. If you think yesterday we had a player, I can't remember who it was, but they also snuck lings. And when you have that second hatch so fast, he should have had an overwhelming advantage. I don't know how eOnzErG actually was able to build so many lings because his hatch at the net was delayed, yet he was basically evenly matched in lings. So it was a sneaky play from Julia. Great read from eOnzErG, honestly. I think the amount of times he's probably seen that on that particular map, probably less than maybe like 5 or 6. So really nicely done from eOnzErG. But game 2 is going to be eOnzErG versus Avi-love. So again, it should be on Eclipse. No, it's not going to be on Eclipse. I think it is going to be on Optimizer this time to start it off.
Yeah, it could be Optimizer, it could be Reap the Storm. But yeah, that game, I totally agree with you. I really like Julia's build. You know, it's a best of 1 situation too. So like, why not throw that in? And I'm surprised the eOnzErG just completely held that. The thing is, Julia at any point, you know, he wasn't that far behind. The biggest thing though was that eOnzErG had his lair up and Julia never started his lair. So if they ever got into more of a drone, and like obviously Julia had the hatch kind of in a not the best position. So it was going to favor eOnzErG in the long run, but it was a nice try from Julia anyway. And again, guys, just want to shout out quickly. You can see on all these graphics at the bottom, you can see all the sponsors for the BSL, Blizzard, Liquipedia, and Esports Fund. So big shout out to them for, you know, essentially supporting the Bombastic Starleague Season 10. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. And without, you know, the work of a lot of people, this wouldn't be possible. So, but make sure that, you know, you check them out. And I mean, everyone checks out Blizzard and Liquipedia, but maybe Esports Fund you haven't heard of, go check them out. But yeah, moving on to the winners match already. We have eOnzErG versus Avi-love, and I really don't know what to expect from this, but yeah, this is going to be an entertaining game for sure.
Yeah, last time I saw Avi-love was against Dandy on Crossing Fields, I think, and it was Ultraman, and Dandy turned it into Tankman versus Ultraman, and apparently Tankman comes out on top. So this is going to be a ZVZ here. Let's see if Avi-love can make a bit of an upset here. eOnzErG always a favorite for his group. Actually, the second match map is going to be on Reap the Storm. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so Reap the Storm is going to be the map. The game is getting hosted here in just a minute. And I mean, you can see like, honestly, Avi-love has been a staple of the European scene, of the non-Korean scene, and of BSL in general. So I think Avi-love is going to be a, you know, more than a match, of course, for eOnzErG. I mean, this is going to be a really close game, and I'm interested to see if any of them try to roll the dice. But I'm kind of assuming Avi-love's probably going to play more of a standard style, but it could also be, we could be in for some Hydralisks. I'm not too sure in a bit. So getting into the game now.
So in the bottom middle, in the pink, looks like his name says Gypsy on Fire. It is Avi-love. And then at the top right, we have the white Zerg. It is eOnzErG. Yeah, so Avi-love, you really do think we might see some Hydra play?
I don't know, dude, but okay, first of all, it's not on Fire, it's Gypsy OnlyFans, and Avi-love, of course, a Gypsy fan. I actually appreciate the shout out, my dude. I don't know if he's watching the broadcast, you know, probably if he won, he is. If he didn't win, Who knows if he is, but much love. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, do I think? I mean, the thing is, Avi-love is a very standard player. I mean, is he though? To be honest, I haven't really watched Avi-love play too much, especially ZVZ. I think in general, he's more of a standard player, but he always has very strong opinions on Hydralisks and ZVZs when I see him talking about the game or when I talk to him about the game. So maybe, I don't know. I felt like we were gonna, you know, when you said we're gonna see some Hydralisks today, I felt like that was possible. I mean, maybe if Tai2 was here, 100% we would have seen Hydralisks in one of these games. But so far, I mean, just look at this 10 hatch from Avi-love. So literally a slightly different variation from what Julia used, but it's basically the same build.
Yeah, and eOnzErG looks like he's just going to go for a 12 hatch himself. So you were talking about how it would have been preferable for eOnzErG to go for a 12 hatch last game. Looks like he's decided that 12 hatch is the way to go this time. And these hatch timings are just very, very different than I'm used to in the past couple years. You know, in ZVP, we even see 11 hatch. In ZVZ, apparently 9 hatches possible.
Yeah.
Now we have a 10 hatch and a 12 hatch, all different types of hatch timings. We can see the difference here is that eOnzErG actually has one drone advantage, which is kind of a big deal in ZVZ, but his gas is a little later, his pool is a little later, but it's not anything super catastrophic in comparison to Avi-love's build. It doesn't give Avi-love such a huge advantage that he's going to exploit eOnzErG's, you know, delayed pool.
Yeah.
Now it is a bit sad, as you were saying, that Tai2 didn't end up playing, because actually you can get up Hydras, and Hydras in critical mass are amazingly strong, especially if you can combo them with like lurkers, or if we even somehow got into hive tech and you just like plague something or ensnare something. Hydras are super deadly, but I do not think that we're actually going to see Hydras. And it looks like Avi-love somehow saw that Julia game, because this is almost the same thing. He's pulled off of gas and now has started massling, and you can already see eOnzErG already recognizes this. He's like, hey, I saw this just 5 minutes ago, and plops down a sunken colony.
Yeah, so, you know, a couple differences here. Avi-love went for the 10 hatch, which is a bit more economical. It's not as aggressive, but you can see he's going to have link speed and a bunch of links really soon. Now, eOnzErG, because he went for that 12 hatch now, it's not going to die the 12 hatch, and he's going to have more drones. You can see, like, look at that drone advantage. But as opposed to the last game where he went 12 pool, 11 gas into hatch, he's not going to have link speed at the same time, and he's not going to have as many links. So this is going to be much tighter for eOnzErG to defend. Now, and you can see the thing is he actually made more drones than last game, 13 drones to 9. He has 1 sunken, but he's not going to have speed. Now he's desperately making lings. This is going to be a really strong timing from Avi-love, and he's going in. This is a really good engagement actually from Avi-love, getting a couple onto the ramp. And the sunken's doing work though, that's the thing. More lings coming in from Avi-love, their speed upgraded, so the reinforcements are going to get there in time. But again, eOnzErG got such a, that I was saying, that's as good of an engagement probably Avi-love could have gotten in that. Look at how tiny that surface is for Avi-love to attack into.
Yeah, there was actually a moment where I thought he was going to get up the ramp and run a couple in, but eOnzErG with impeccable micro moved the lings right in the nick of time to get on top of the ramp to prevent those lings from sneaking in. Now, just like last game, eOnzErG is just sitting over top of the hatchery. He sees exactly what's going on, and there we go. We've got, what is he doing? Channeling his inner Faust. This is a third hatch coming in. There's no gas mining, so this is just pure lings at this point. And eOnzErG, I'm watching his gas just like, oh, he matches the hatch. So he's pulled off of gas to get his mineral income matching the income of Avi-love. He's going to put down the third hatch. I thought he was going to put down a Spire, but I can see that the lair hasn't finished yet. So both of these players actually going into a type of Zerg play that you really don't see. How many times do you actually see 3 hatches go down in ZVZ? Not often. So we might actually get a long game ZVZ.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I really like eOnzErG's response. I think, well, hold that thought for a second, because eOnzErG feels like he can attack here, which is a bit maybe hasty. I mean, they're both equal supply. eOnzErG has 1 more drone, and Avi-love has a position here up on the ramp. So look at this arc, beautiful arc from Avi-love. He's going to completely destroy this attack from eOnzErG, and eOnzErG kind of getting a bit too complacent here. Now he has the Spire coming. Now I was going to say, as eOnzErG still trying to run a couple Lings by, but he loses some in the process, and this is going to be really good for Avi-love because, again, he committed really early to this 3 hatch. He's basically going to all in with Lings at this point because he doesn't have a lair. He has to go. I mean, the Spire is putting a timer on Avi-love, and he sees it. And eOnzErG, I don't really understand his decision making here because all he has to do is defend and wait for the Spire. And I liked him going for that 3rd hatch to match the production so he doesn't just die to Lings before his Mulisks come. But he donated so many Lings here that Avi-love has a really good timing. Look how many Lings. There's only 1 Sunken. The Sunken DPS isn't that significant when Ling count is this high. And Avi-love is just chewing through eOnzErG's defenses. The Sunken's going to go down. eOnzErG has more Lings coming in. The 1 Sunken finishes. It's going to be really close, Nyokin.
Yeah, look at the defense from eOnzErG, though. I thought this was almost impossible to hold because Sunken Colonies really are not that great versus Lings, yet he manages to hold, manages to keep that drone alive, and what I was mostly worried about is if the Nat gets breached, that's where the Spire is. He cannot just hold position Lings on the ramp. He would sack his Spire. So now the Spire is completed. Avi-love has an evolution chamber, but there's no colonies anywhere. One Muta could just sit over the main or the natural and start getting drone kills. So eOnzErG with a fantastic hold. Still the Sunken is alive in the back, and that soaks up a lot of hits from Avi-love's incoming Lings. And eOnzErG even has a drone lead, even if it's only just 1. So everything going super well from eOnzErG so far.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Nyokin. He doesn't have time to make Mutalisks here. You can see he's not even mining gas because this 3 hatch is so oppressive in terms of the bust potential. If you actually spend 100 minerals on Mutalisk, you might die here. He has 1 Mutalisk out though, so that's going to help with the DPS. And again, Avi-love, he knows he has to go at some point, but eOnzErG is always in such a great defensive position. The Sunken taking so much of that Ling DPS from Avi-love's Lings, and finally 1 Mutalisk is out. Now this Mutalisk, oh, he just GG's.
Yeah, so nicely done from eOnzErG. I was actually very worried for him when he made the Ling counterattack up into the high ground and traded so poorly. There was like a 20 Ling to 5 Ling advantage for Avi-love, yet still eOnzErG able to hold. So eOnzErG, in the matter of what, like 15 minutes, just goes straight through to the next round. He's going to be our winner of Group C. And because Tyler Byron has dropped out tie 2, actually we're going to have Avi-love versus Julia in the deciders match. We're already there. Actually, yesterday we ended up taking a break. I feel like we should just go straight through. We've only been going for about 15 minutes. So if that's possible, let's just go straight into the deciders match. This is going to be a best of 3 between Julia and Avi-love. Who's the king of Lings? Because apparently that's how both of them want to play.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so funny that they both basically went for the same build against eOnzErG. Now, I think eOnzErG is obviously a bit favorite against those two. I mean, eOnzErG is basically probably the best non-Korean Zerg right now. I don't know who else I could think of. Siki also, obviously. There's a couple, Gornich also. So actually, there's a lot of really good Zergs, but eOnzErG is for sure up there, so I can see why Avi-love and Julia maybe wanted, especially in a best of 1 situation, go for something like that. Now, against one another, I think Avi-love, for example, is definitely not going to whip out that build against Julia. Now, Julia, though, we might see that build again. I'm not sure. It's going to be really interesting, and I'm still surprised that they both went for that same build, but you can see that last game, eOnzErG choosing to go for the 12 hatch was, despite making that big blunder, like he was so ahead economically that he could afford doing that. So anyway, so Julia versus Avi-love. Yeah, I don't know. I hope we get this. I mean, if we get to see Hydralisks, this is going to be the series in which that's going to happen, right?
Yeah, if there's a chance for some type of funky game, this would be the matchup he's going to get it. And it is going to be on Optimizer, so I guess there could be a potential for that, but I actually think because it's Optimizer and because you have the double gas in your main, we may see something similar to what Avi-love just did, which is just triple hatch in the main. That for sure. Well, actually, in the past, maps like Sparkle, which were very weird, players like Avi-love really like. So he might actually have quite a bit of experience on this map in particular, but I don't think Julia probably plays Optimizer that much. So we'll have to wait and see what both of these players come up with. I personally do think that what we saw Zeke go for yesterday, which was the 2 hatch and the
Yeah.
3rd hatch, could be a potential for Avi-love, but you never know.
I really liked Ziki's build yesterday. I thought it was genius for this map. And again, like I'm gonna say it again, I think he was the only player yesterday, at least, to actually use the map properly and in a smart way in terms of incorporating it into his strategy, into his build. Avilov, also a fan of kind of the weirder maps alongside others. I know TT1, for example, Ariador. Avilov recently played True Touch like on Sparkle a bunch of games, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's prepared something here on Optimizer, but I wouldn't be surprised if Julia prepared something, because that Julia's build in the first game on Eclipse I actually really liked, and it was clearly thought out. So I'm excited to see these two play each other. It's gonna be great, and we're gonna be getting into the game right now. Julia versus Avi-love.
So in the top right in the pink, we have Avi-love. And in the bottom right in the green, representing Poland, we have Julia. So I agree that probably most likely Avi-love has something planned. Optimizer is a map that seems like Avi-love would like if you're liking Sparkle, something very weird, something very unorthodox. This time, Julia and Avi-love are actually going to get off the first scout. I was noticing that last game where eOnzErG, luckily, on a map like Reap the Storm, picked the right direction.
Yeah.
And was able to see exactly what Avi-love was doing, whereas Avi-love went the wrong direction, really didn't have any idea, but it didn't really seem to impact his build. It seemed like he just had a game plan from the get-go to just mass lane. Now, I'm thinking back to old school ZBZ, like I'm talking really old school. Now, when we had Ling battles in the olden days, when I actually played Zerg, people would even rush +1 weapon on their Lings. Now, do you think we might see something like that from both of these players who have shown pure Ling so far?
Yeah, the fossil strats, dude. It's, I mean, even when I played Zerg, even before 2010, even now, like after Starcraft Remastered came out, I mean, people were still doing stuff like 3 hatch into Evo Chamber, +1 melee, and just all-inning Ling. So it's not like it's a completely extinct type of build, but yeah, obviously you don't see it that much now. Avi-love is actually going for that 11 hatch, so a bit more conservative than a 12 hatch, and I think Julia, it looks like he himself went for a 12 hatch, so Julia with a slight advantage. The one these small advantages in these builders, guys, aren't irrelevant, but for the most part they both went for the same build. So and this, it's not game breaking, the fact that Julia is going to have an extra drone on Avi-love, especially because they're both playing a very economical opener. They're both going to have a lot of drones here, so it's going to be interesting. I'm surprised that they both went for this, but to be honest, yeah, I mean, who knows? It's rare actually that you see both players going for 12 hatch. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just wild to me. At some point, we're gonna have to get an interview with one of these Zerg players because we've already seen 12 hatch from eOnzErG. Last game we saw Avi-love go for 10 hatch. Now it's an 11 hatch. So I wonder, like, what makes him choose 10 hatch over something like 11 hatch?
100%. The 10 hatch last game was literally a 9 hatch build order, which is supposed to be this Ling all-in that completely obliterates something like 9 pull, because he got the hatch before the Overlord. Now 11 hatch in this game is basically 12 hatch, but he wants to give himself slightly more of a chance to defend 9 pull speed. So that's 100%, I think, what the reasoning was behind the
is
okay,
that what I think it is? That is an evolution chamber before lair for Avilov. So this has to be +1 weapon or armor. It should be weapon because armor is just Avilov's actually doesn't have. Oh, he canceled evolution. Okay, I don't know what's going on now. So Avilov does have lair going at his natural, but it looked like Julia was gonna go for +1 weapon Lings, but instead cancels it. And instead maybe we're just going to have another link flood. Speed's about to kick in for Avi-love. Speed's about to kick in, or it has just started actually for Julia, but Julia's lair is considerably farther ahead than Avi-love's.
Yes, yeah. So it looks like Avilov actually chose to go for speed first instead of lair, and Julian went for lair first. So it's going to be interesting to see if Avilov abuses this. I mean, look, he recognizes that his lair is a bit slower. So he's actually making more lings, and I don't know if I don't know if Julia's going to be ready for this attack.
Okay, actually a bunch of lings just got popped for Julia, but I think the angle from Avi-love is superior. Look at half the lings of Julia not attacking. There's no completed sunken colony, and this might just be game over for Julia. That's a lot of lings, even if just 2 sneak into the main. That's going to be a lot of drones. Goodbye, sunken colony. Also, there's a drone on the mineral patch that is not mining, and I think this is just game over. There's an overwhelming amount of lings. Yeah, Julia just taps out, and that is a quick victory for Avi-love.
Yeah, I mean, that was a specific situation you don't see very often, but where link speed clearly gave one of the players an advantage in the fight. And that's because Julia, he had like those 4 lings that kind of just like ran around the sunken or the creep colony. And because they didn't have link speed, it took so long for them to actually contribute to the fight that basically Avi-love's link speed it turned into some sort of like DPS advantage, and he basically completely mauled Julia there with the small timing that he got from going link speed first rather than lair first. And Julia just didn't identify that he had to defend at that point, got his stuff a bit too late, and got instantly punished.
Yeah, I was just about to say that because of the spawns with being top right versus bottom right, they were very close to each other. Like it felt like Avi-love left his base and was just instantly in Julia's base. So Julia caught before he could get critical mass lings, so he's automatically down 1-0 very quickly. And now Avi-love is within 1 game of just making it out of Group C. And we're going to be done with Group C within like 30 minutes. That's just the nature of ZVZ sometimes. So let's see if Julia can recover here and actually bring it back to 1-1 and try and make it out of his group in second place? Or is it just going to be Avi-love really just running him over with mass link? Next map is going to be Polypoid. So let's see if Avi-love can do it or if Julia can tie up the series 1-1. In the top right, down 1-0. He has to win here or he's gone. It is Julia. In the bottom right, it feels like all the Zerg players today just want to go mass lane, and they're having good success with it. It's Avi-love. So Polypoid, tell me about Polypoid ZVZ. Is there something that we should know about it, like we should know on Optimizer? Are we gonna see the evolution chamber? What do you think was actually the reasoning for the evolution chamber cancel? Was it just a mistake, or was he contemplating going +1?
I have no idea, because his lair was faster than Avi-love's. It's not like he needed it for the spy or like for spores. And then it looked like he was probably gonna go for a +1 melee or something. Maybe he was just mind gaming, like I'm just gonna throw down this Evo chamber because really it doesn't cost that much. It's like if you cancel it, I don't know. That was really weird. But on Polypoid, like Polypoid is just like any other 4-player map. In 4-player maps on ZVZ, well, first of all, Polypoid has a ramp. So stuff like what Ziki did yesterday, where you go something like 11 gas, 10 pull, and go straight into Mutalisks and defend your ramp, is possible. The other thing is that on 4-player maps, obviously the scouting plays a lot into it. It's much harder usually. Well, you know, some games it doesn't matter because you both choose kind of the correct scouting pattern. But on some games like here, I mean, Avi-love is going to get the Overlord in much quicker than Julia will, so that's going to be a massive advantage. And on some games, neither player gets to scout off with the Overlord, which completely changes the dynamic. But other than that, it's ZVZ as usual.
Yeah, and again, every game so far, other than the 12 hatch that we just saw from Julia, which matched the 12 hatch of eOnzErG, there's been a different hatch timing every single time. We've seen 9 hatch from Julia on Eclipse. Now I just watched Avi-love do a gas trick 10 hatch on Reap the Storm, he did a 10 hatch without the gas trick. Then he did an 11 hatch. These hatch timings are just wild, man. But this time, Julia actually went pool first, went gas. So he's going to be the one that can put pressure onto Avi-love. But based on what you were saying last game, this is going to just blind counter an early pool. He's going to have an overwhelming amount of lings. This drone is very funny. He might actually try and sunken rush here if he can get it down. But the move command from Avi-love doing a good job to deny that drone. There it is.
Dude,
there's the
oh
colony.
my God. Avi-love was doing such a good job. It was so crucial to delay that creep colony, but somehow he gets it down nonetheless. Avi-love here, he has to pull drones, but if he defends this, he's going to be at a second hatchery advantage, and he'll be able to completely flood Julia out of this game. But he can't lose too many drones, because otherwise he won't have the economy to actually produce from both hatcheries. But he actually loses no drones, kills the creep colony instantly, and now Julia's going to have link speed, but literally one hatch production against two hatch here, and it's gonna be really hard for Julia. The thing is, though, Nyokin, look, because Avi-love had to pull drones, just now he started link speed, so not as fast as he wanted it to be. He had to pull drones to defend there. Makes a lot of sense, because if the Sunken gets up, actually I think Julia has a chance to completely just kill that hatchery. But because his link speed here, Avi-love's link speed is so delayed, it's not like he can just take his lings and kind of walk across the map. It's going to take a long time for them to get there, and he's going to open himself up to basically counter attacking from Julia. So he still has to stay back. Now Julia taking some trades here. I don't know if this makes sense, because he knows that basically Avi-love is on 2 hatch production, so the more these link trades take place, the more advantage goes to Avi-love. And at this point, yeah, Julia has 3 links inside of Avi-love's base, and those speed upgrade, whereas Avi-love doesn't have speed upgrade. But the counterattack is coming.
Well, at least Julia got a couple drones there, so he's actually up in workers. His ling count is not the same as Avi-love anymore. He ended up throwing all of his lings, and now Avi-love has a ton of lings. If he was to go right now, okay, those were not lings. I actually expected them to be lings, but instead it looks like Avi-love's willing to just transition from here. I think that's okay. He's going to have a 12 worker lead to 7. Julia's got to be careful, because he only has these 3 lings. If they fall, I feel like a counter attack just instantly kills him. Now, of course, Avi-love doesn't know if there's any other lings out on the map. He does not want to get backstabbed and lose the mineral line. Sunken coming up for Julia, so he is going to be able to defend it. But he's got to be very, very careful, because Avi-love can instantly build way more links than him. Spire's going to start. But it looks like actually Avi-love...
He can't lose drones. He can't lose drones. If Julia loses any drone here, it's going to be massive for Avi-love. And Avi-love is just pushing through these lings. The Sunken is actually doing a lot of damage. But if he gets one drone goes down, if he gets another drone, this is basically game over. I mean, it's already game over, really. Look, 12 drones against 6 drones, 5 drones only. And now, basically, Julia can't make anything. Yeah, and he just leaves.
Yeah, so Julia just taps out, and that is a quick, easy 2-0 for Avi-love. And all the ZVZs today, we saw one muta that eOnzErG popped out for defense. So it's not going to be like what we saw yesterday, which was incredible macro from, or incredible micro from players like Zeke. These were ruthless games. They just wanted to end it very